Alright, here we go. W.A.S.P. Still not black enough. I believe with this one, I might be completed on the 80s. The 80s for sure, and the 90s now. I think I've got it all out of order, all mixed up. But I think I've got everything from the 80s through the 90s covered at this point. Okay. Alright. So, this is an interesting album. Originally it came out in 95. If I were to compare it to other albums from 95, which I'm going to have to bring up on my computer here, just give me a second while I do that. Let's see, artists, and granted this is not like the most accurate count in the world, but this gives me a rough idea of what I was at least listening to in 95, or what I've picked up since for 95, because I missed it back in the original release. Alright, when I compare this to other stuff from 95 that I would have picked up, which realistically, I mean, there's a couple decent albums in there, you know. AC/DC's Ball Breaker was in there. That was a decent enough album. Megadeth Hidden Treasures, but it's technically a compilation. Ozzy's Osmosis wasn't bad. Most of these are compilations. There's a few originals in there. A lot of stuff that it's a song here, a song there kind of thing. Van Halen Balance. Steve Vai, Alien Love Secrets, you know. So there's a couple decent ones in there. So this, you know, within the year of 95, this would have been a pretty decent album. Would have been on par, at least, with a lot of the other ones I mentioned, if not better than some of the ones I mentioned. When I go through the songs themselves, it really is going to sound like I'm downplaying the songs, and I do apologize. This album as a whole, when I'm listening to it, this is a background music album. Background music album. You know, like, this is a decent album to throw on in a mix of people. There's some vulgarity in it, whatnot. But this is a decent enough album to throw on, at least in a rock metal gathering. There isn't any standout singles to me on this album, and what does stand out to me on this album, I would also argue, well, being very good ways of standing out, are also standing out for the wrong reason in certain ways. Alright, so the album's up with Still Not Black Enough. It's not a bad tune. You know, it opens up the album really well. I find it enjoyable. Good, strong song. Oh, man. You two, hey. No fighting. I got Mayhem and Pandora both sitting here, and I'm not getting up to move the camera because I'm not getting in the middle of this, because they're both like, Mayhem's right there, Pandora's right here, and sometimes they're playing Pause of Death. So I'm not sure if this is an actual game or if this is Pandora's trying to leave the room and trying to sneak by and can't sneak by. Go, Pandora, go, run! Okay, sorry, I'm being distracted by my cats. And I can't even share the video footage with you because I don't have another camera over here to point it back that way. Okay, moving on. All right, then we get into, this is going to be my favorite song on the album. And that is going to be a cover of Jefferson Airplane's Somebody to Love. First off, it's my favorite Jefferson Airplane song. I've karaoke'd this one myself more than once. I'm a very big fan of this song, and I really, really do enjoy this version on this album. I think it's really, really good. I mean, really good. Great thunder and drums on it. It reminds me a lot of, listening to Blackie Lawless. I was telling my daughter this. Okay, so when my daughter was growing up as a kid, me and her mother always used to say that Metallica could take any song and make it sound better. Very few exceptions where the original band didn't do it as good as Metallica. My opinion's changed on that as I've gotten older a little bit. But for the most part, I still stand by Metallica. For the most part, Metallica covers pretty damn good cover. W.A.S.P, I will say the exact same thing about. I have not heard a W.A.S.P cover yet I do not like. Oh my God. These guys really like their covers every single time. Now, do I think this is better than the original Jefferson Airplane version? No. Do I think any of their covers have been better than the originals? No, but once again, I don't necessarily think that about Metallica anymore either. But they're on par. They're faithful. They're on par. But they're faithful while being their own demon beast that is W.A.S.P. And this is such a good cover. I love it. It's really, really good. What is that? Oh, man. Now, it's clever doing the black on black, and let's make it as dark as possible, but when I gotta read it, it sucks. Oh, Black Forever. Okay, so Black Forever and Scared to Death. I enjoy both of them while the album is playing. Good songs, enjoyable and whatnot. But when the album's not playing, I don't really think of them that much. Scared to Death is actually, and it's a bit of a shame with Scared to Death. Scared to Death is actually a pretty fun song when the album's playing. I actually kind of get, it's one of those songs where not every time, but like every other time or something like that, I'll get hooked into it and go with it kind of thing. Then after that, we're on to Goodbye America. This one's interesting because it's 1995. And I get why W.A.S.P, Blackie specifically in 95 would be doing the whole Goodbye America kind of checking out. Because metal in America was basically dead. Not entirely, but, okay, so once again, Steve Vai, Alien Love Secrets. Yes, that got released, but it was not getting any regular radio love. Van Halen Balance, that did get a lot of radio love, but also not metal, technically rock, and that album did lean into the what we'll call the grungier side. So it was commercial for that time. AC/DC Ballbreaker, that was just standard AC/DC, and that album still just did well. That was the only time I saw AC/DC live. It was on that tour, and oh my God, you ever get to see the No Bull DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, the video for No Bull, that is the Ballbreaker tour. That's the tour I saw. I don't think they capture it as well, especially the intro. You wouldn't be able to, but such a spectacle. Like I said, a lot of greatest hits in here. Collective Soul released their first album, but once again, it's more rock. Or not, well, their self-titled album, sorry. Ozzy Osmosis, that was more of a typical Ozzy album, didn't really go into the grungy side, so, but also, did well, but not as well. So, like I said, I get the Goodbye America sentiment. I just think it's really funny, given all these years later, how many people have that sentiment, how many more people have that sentiment. This is kind of be like almost a good theme song now. Keep Holding On. Okay, Ballad. I can flip over to the back side and use this. There was a big sticker on the back here. That's why I couldn't read the back of it at first. Keep Holding On, the ballad of the album, you know, it's not bad, I guess. Rock and Roll to Death. Okay, this one's kind of fun because the very intro of it, you can tell, totally homage, not a ripoff, totally an homage. It's like the intro, and I think this is interesting as well, and I think it would have been better if it had followed Goodbye America, because it's the intro to Revolution that no, except for that they change it right in going out of the first part of the riff, just so they don't have to worry about copyright infringement, you know. But it is a total homage to get the song going, and I think it's great, absolutely awesome. And then it goes into this Rock and Roll to Death kind of song, and it's a good fun party song. It is a Rock and Roll to Death is a fun party song. Then you get to Breathe, and all right, I can't. I don't understand why I Can't is on this album. After Crimson Idol. You know, like, it's such a pivotal kind of part or parts in Crimson Idol that I was really, it's really good on here. I really, really like it on here. I just really surprised it's on here. Because Crimson Idol, if I remember correctly, would have been the album right before this. And I know you're getting all these all out of order. Because I think KFD is the review you would have seen before this, if you're watching them in order, of my release. I Can't was, I really like it. I really, really do. But because of Keep Holding On, I just, meh. And then you got No Way Out of Here, which was a good way to close out the album. Such a weird album and such a good album at the same time. It is 100% on par with anything metal-wise that stayed metal in the post-grunge era. Like, I would even, you know, like, I say that's comparable to 95. Even going into 96, I mean, 96, we got Reloads. No, sorry, that's not 96, that's 97. Sorry, I overshot. That's how small my CD purchasing from 96 is. But when I look at albums from 96, okay, Pantera's Great Southern Trendkill, Steve Vai's Fire Garden. Once again, Steve Vai, so nothing really overly commercial, as so much of it is what it is. Metallica's Load, and okay, 96 is actually going to be interesting, all right, because when I'm looking at this one particular line here, okay, we got Great Southern Trendkill from Pantera, Rammstein's first album, Hellside, Metallica's Load, Typo Negative, October Rust, Rush Test for Echo. And yes, I will say that if we're calling this a metal album by its sound and tone and everything like that, Rush Test for Echo is getting included in there as well. Just sorry, that's how that's going to happen. You've even got Dio's Angry Machines. Now, Dio's Angry Machines would be the far on the one side of the meter. You know, you're negative on the far side of the 1 meter. The other side, out of all those albums, I'm going with Hellside. So I'm not saying that Angry Machines is a 0. And I'm not saying that Harold Zeit is a 10, but if we're using those for 1996 as our speedometer meter, okay? The one under the scale to the other one. This album definitely falls way closer to the Harold Zeit side than it does to the Angry Machine side. Will I listen to... I mean, this is Drew's album, so, you know, it's not that I'm going to listen to it. I'd have to borrow it from him every time I want to listen to it. But if I owned this album, would I listen to it that often? No. However, that being said, would I listen to it more often than Crimson Idol? Yes. Would I listen to it more often than Inside the Electric Circus? Yes. Would I listen to it more often than KFD? No. The first two albums, the first two albums with their bonus discs, hell no, those two I love. The first two albums with the bonus discs, those are still my favorites. Absolutely my favorites. But this one is a decent album, like surprisingly a decent album. The production's really good on it. I really do enjoy the production on it. The songs are a little surprising, and at the same time, you know, like to me, the big standout singles are already more or less singles, in my brain at least, you know, like Somebody to Love, okay, you know, like, like I said, Keep Holding On, I understand why that's on there as a single. That would be a single for that time period, but only in the US. Goodbye America I could actually see doing really well in Europe. Rock and Roll to Death, honestly, that one could have been a single. I think that one could have been a single. I can't... Too powerful to be a single for the radio. It is. It's way too deep for the radio. This is just such a complicated album for me, but a good album. I'm glad that Drew rebought it so I could listen to it. I'm going to say that. I will 100% say that. I'm glad Drew rebought it so I could listen to it. And I'm glad he's going to put it back in his collection, because I think it should be in his collection. It belongs in there as much as any other album that I borrowed from him so far. But I could also see, like Crip Rick. I could totally get why you, being that, the comments you had mentioned that Inside the Electric Circus was your favorite album. Drew said that was his favorite album. I could see why you didn't suggest this album to me. I get why Drew at one point sold off this album. If I were a diehard W.A.S.P album, or a diehard W.A.S.P fan, and I had been a diehard W.A.S.P fan going back, into the early days, like in the 80s and stuff like that, and I had heard this album, this would have been, to me, this for me would have been like when Alice Cooper released The Last Temptation. Best comparison I can come up with. Of albums when they were released or going in order and whatnot. And the reason I say that is, everything prior to that had been these really good rock albums, not including Crimson Idol. That's a crazy album. But I agree that never should have been a W.A.S.P album. That should have been a solo album. As a W.A.S.P album, this definitely would have felt kind of like a Falter album. It definitely... Another comparison would be Load. For a lot of Metallica fans, when Load came out, I could see this being kind of W.A.S.P's Load. And I do like Load, so I don't think Load is, one of Metallica's better albums, but I don't think it's one of their worst either. And that's kind of where I'm at with this one, the whole way around. I understand why some people definitely would not be a fan. But for me, it works, I would not recommend it as a first album for anybody. God, no. First or second album with the bonus material. You got to have the bonus material. But it's not a bad album all the way around. Anyways, folks, I'm repeating myself over and over. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I know Drew's going to give me his opinion eventually, and I kind of know where he stands. Rick, let me know where you're at here on that one, man. Did I get it right? Like, you not being a huge fan on this one. Is this a load for you? Anybody else? Comments, please. I'd like to know. There's a like button, a subscribe button, a bell for notifications. Please and thank you. Otherwise, folks, a couple links worth checking out too. Peace, love, take care.